So this is not a box of taffy. This is a box of old Star Wars figures, and I pulled this out of the closet for inspiration today because I'm going to make a Star Wars character out of paper. And I know just the character I want to make. Actually, I have to make it. Stick with me for a second. Well, here it is. You see, Star Wars was released in May 1977, and nobody knew how big it was going to be. Not me, not my friends, and especially not Kenner, the toy company making toys for the movie. Everyone went to see the movie. Our minds were blown. Instantly, kids like me wanted, we demanded Star Wars toys. But believe it or not, there were no toys for the movie in the stores. None. Kenner was totally unprepared for this. So they had the brilliant idea to sell the 8-year-old me what they called an early bird certificate package. Basically, a coupon. And I mailed that coupon to Kenner, and that sort of gave them some time to get the toys made and prevent child-led riots in the streets across the country. So yeah, I mailed off my coupon, and then I waited. Anyway, Kenner mailed me the first 4 Star Wars action figures that were available. Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Chewbacca, and R2-D2. No bad guys? No, not yet. So reenacting the movie was actually pretty hard with only those 4 characters. So I had to invent my own stories about how R2 turned evil or Luke and Leia got married. Hey, nobody knew. Understandably, I was not appeased by these 4 Star Wars figures for long. Luckily, they started releasing Star Wars action figures in stores. And so began a tradition of asking my parents if I could go to the toy section of JCPenney, Sears, or Best while they went shopping for a washing machine or something. The best store in my hometown, yes, it was called Best, the best store, it was one of my favorite stores to go to. It was built in a way that the bricks on the front of the building looked like they were peeling off. It was insane. I remember walking under the peeling walls and looking up and wondering if the bricks would pick that exact second to crash down on my head. Anyway, my secret plan every time I went shopping with my parents was to try and make sure I came home with a new action figure. Hey Dad, I got a B+ on that math test last week. Can we go to Toys R Us? Please don't ask about my history test. So my collection grew. C-3PO, Darth Vader, a Stormtrooper, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Han Solo, a Sand Person, a Death Squad Commander. Yeah, eventually they changed the name of that one. Oh, while I was trying to collect all of these new figures, Kenner had another brilliant, fun mail-in offer where you could send in some proofs of purchase along with $2 and you could get a stunningly beautiful Star Wars display action stand. Well, it was just a slab of plastic with a cardboard backdrop. I don't have mine anymore, but this is what it looked like, except a few weeks after I got mine, one of my so-called friends stole my cardboard backdrop piece. To this day, I'm not sure who took it from me. It was Scott. Because of halfway decent grades, except for history, and lots of trips to the store, I had populated all the spots on my Star Wars display action stand, except one. I was missing a Jawa. And this drove me absolutely crazy. Honestly, it was hard for me to sleep at night. I'd lay in bed and I'd just stare at my Star Wars display action stand, the little foot pegs on the far left side of it clearly empty. I couldn't eat. Well, no, that's not true. In those days, I ate a massive amount of patio burritos or steakums and chased it all down with cherry soda from the pop shop. Anyway, I will say I was distraught and obsessed. I had to find a Jawa, and soon. Days turned to weeks, weeks turned to months, and every time I went to the store, there seemed to be a never-ending supply of Chewbacca figures, but no Jawas. I volunteered to join my parents on every outing in the hopes that we could swing by Toys R Us to check one more time. I even pondered sabotage of the major appliances in my home so we'd have to go to Sears to replace them, and double-check the toy section while we were there. And where is Kenner Toys headquarters anyway? Cincinnati, Ohio? Oh, we have family in Ohio. Maybe it's time for a visit. Road trip. But then, One day, one beautiful, amazing day, I walked down that toy aisle at that amazing best store with the peeling brick walls to discover an entire peg of Jawa action figures staring at me through their rectangular plastic blister mounted to those glorious Star Wars branded card backs. I grabbed one off the peg like it was a priceless diamond. I remember quickly looking over my shoulder to make sure that no one was about to jump me and take it from me. It's mine, mine, all mine. And then something even more amazing happened. My dad said, "You know what? You better buy 2 of those since it's been really hard to find it. And maybe it'll be a collector's item someday." My jaw must have fallen to the floor as I looked at my dad in shock. What? Buy 2 of them? Are we allowed to do that? We went up to the register with 2 Jawas in hand, and I fully expected the cashier to tell us, "No, you can't buy 2 of the same thing in this store. What are you thinking?" But no, the cashier just rang them up like it was nothing. Did she even know what she was holding in her hands? No, she did not, because she dropped them in the bag rather carelessly, as I recall, and handed them over to me like it was a bag of school supplies or something. I immediately snatched the bag and I walked out of the store feeling like a robber. That night, I proudly placed one of my 2 Jawas into the Star Wars display action stand and stood the other one next to my alarm clock so it would be the first thing I saw the next morning. I slept soundly that night until I realized that I needed some spaceships for my characters to fly around in. And to be honest, that is when my love of papercraft actually began. But that's a story for another time. Because as I hold this new papercraft Jawa in my hand alongside my original purchase from 1978, I feel like I successfully completed my quest for the elusive Jawa all over again.